When Senzo Meyiwa was killed, it went to the scene. I'm actually happy that I'm being asked on the issue of Senzo Meyiwa, and it's an issue that I wish I could spend time on it to clarify, so that finally South Africans can get to hear the truth. And allow me, Chair, to deal with this Senzo Meyiwa issue. When Senzo Meyiwa, after Senzo Meyiwa was killed, I was the head of the Hawks in Gauteng.
Sibiya is saying he was the head of the Hawks in Gauteng, when everybody knows very well that by that time, when he went to Senzo Meyiwa's scene of crime, he was not in the police service, he was suspended.
I was at home in Pretoria. I got a call from the acting provincial commissioner, who was General Musikiri at that time. I was at home at night. I didn't even know about the shooting. And it was around about 11 at night. And remember, Senzo was killed after 7:30, around about 7:30, early evening. And what I had to do as the head of the Hawks was to call a team to say, let's meet there.
How was Biya supposed to call a team, as he is saying here, because he was on suspension? This is all that lie is being told under oath in that commission. This should be really followed up, because it is not right for him to call a team while he was not in duty and he was under suspension. I just don't get it. I think maybe he has forgotten exactly what happened during that time. What he's trying to clarify there, it's just a lie under oath.
Just like when a serious crime has been committed, we move. We go there. And what happened there is that as we moved, all of us, we got there. I ran straight to hospital. And simply because of the fact Senzo Meyiwa is a national key point. It's a national asset. It's not ordinary member where someone can say someone has been gunned out, then as the head of the house, I'll also go there. But because it was a national goalkeeper, we all had to react, and we went. Even General Musikiri, who was the acting provincial commissioner, we all went and we met at the police station, at the hospital. When I got to the hospital, it was packed, even in the passage, even in the ward where he was lying motionless. And everybody was crying there. Even myself, I could not make my way through into the ward. I saw him lying inside there, but from outside the ward.
What General Sibiya is doing here, he is lying. He's saying that in the ward, it was at the emergency, and at the emergency, the doctors were busy with Senzo Meyiwa, so nobody was allowed to go inside that emergency wherever he was kept as soon as he arrived with those wounds of the gun wound. So now for him to say a lot of people were inside the ward, it is not true. People were outside crying. We know that through evidence that has been produced in the court of law. So for him to say now he had to peep through the window to see, but he was also out because a lot of people were inside, that it doesn't make sense. Then he ran to the scene of crime. Let us hear how he ran to the scene of crime to see what he did in the scene of crime, because I'm trying to point out things that he is contradicting himself.
Then I realized that it won't work. I then said to General Musikiri, I will go to the house where now the investigation must start, because now the investigation process had to start. Now for the investigation process to start, we then had to go to the scene of crime. When we get to the house where it happened, it was packed. Outside the yard, inside the yard, there was up and down movement in the house. I'm well trained when it comes to investigations. I'm 37 years doing what I'm doing. The very first thing is to take charge of the scene of crime. Mine was to give instructions and say, please, secure the scene, preserve the scene. This is a scene of crime. Now the team had to make sure that they remove everybody on site to outside the yard so that it can be coordinated. The scene of crime can be coordinated. Remember, I arrived late at night when this thing happened almost after 7:30, and the scene was already processed by the officials. It was processed, cleaned. The experts have done their work.
This is where it gets me worried about what Sibiya is saying. He's saying when he got there were movement inside the house, outside, and in the yard. He had to ask the team that has come to coordinate the scene of crime. It means from 7:30, as he is he's a senior investigator, a well-experienced investigator. But at that moment, he was the scene from 7:30, as he alluded there. The scene of crime was not coordinated, so that whatever investigation had to go on there, that will be done in a scene of crime that was not contaminated. Which aspect Sibiya is talking about here? Because the scene of crime was not even coordinated. But now he is telling about experts that came and have done their job when he got into the scene. That is how he is contradicting himself, and he doesn't realize what he is doing is shooting himself right in his foot and is under odds saying all these kind of things. Sibiya must start to reconcile and start to understand that what he is doing to himself, he's doing a disservice, because now South Africans are listening to what is happening at the ad hoc committee, and they are expecting each and every person who will come to the ad hoc committee to tell the truth as to exactly what is really happening in the country, as Mkhwanazi has came out blazing about the corruption that is going on in the country. Now he himself, he's telling about experts that came while everybody was up and down in the scene of crime, and the scene of crime was not coordinated. But what is he trying to say? As a senior investigator, I don't think Sibiya is doing any good service to himself. I think he has to think twice about the answers that he's giving at the ad hoc committee. This was like it was a trap to him, and now he has fallen into the trap. SIKHOSANA has made sure that he throw him under the bus.
Now, when I arrived there, I also found MEC Sizakele Nkosi Malobane and other generals were there. Now, ours, we come here as a fact-finding team. We come in here, we knock, we sit down in the sitting room. It's clean, there's no blood, there's no spotty that you can see, or everything is in place. And then we sit, we listen, we ask questions. What happened? This one explained, this one explained, this one explained, this one explained. This is the normal course of...
This is really getting ugly, what Sibiya is doing here. He told us that he left the hospital and went to the house, whereby he asked whoever was there, whether it was the sergeants or whoever was there from the police side, to tell them to coordinate the scene of crime. Now Sibiya is telling us under oath that what happened there. He then sat down with the people to find out exactly what happened. The same people that he left in the hospital who were crying, Kelly and all those people were at the hospital by that time when he went to the scene of crime. But now he is telling us that he had to sit down with the people and try to understand exactly what happened, how the scene was, if there were any intruders who came in the scene. So what he's trying to say here is really ridiculous in my own way, allegedly, because what I see from a senior investigator, what senior investigators, when they come to the scene, or any investigator, they make sure when they get into the scene of crime, they coordinate the scene of crime, they take one by one, will pick one. If they say 10 investigators come in the scene of crime, they will pick, because they don't want these people to communicate the same thing. They don't sit them down. What they normally do, they pick one is taking a statement there, the other one is taking in another investigator a statement, another statement, from to find out exactly when these people's minds are still fresh. But what he is doing here, he is proving that as long as he say he's a senior investigator and he's been in the job for the longest time, but what he is telling us now here, it brings a lot of questions that nobody can answer except for him, because now he's telling us a different thing. Because how can you sit down with people who were in the scene of crime instead of getting each and every one, because you're not sure whether those people were the ones who did or who committed that crime. You need to take one by one. Either you have those investigators around you, then there will be one of the investigators will be interviewing the other one, the other will be interviewing the other one, the other will be interviewing the other one. Not what he is telling us here. What he is telling us is very wrong, and it doesn't prove that he was doing his job. He was there for another mission. That's one thing we have to take from what he has just said in the ad hoc committee.
Into crime scene. The MEC was there also. We were all listening. And then from there, General Musigiri and them came, arrived from hospital to join us. There were other generals, including General Musigiri. We all listened. And thereafter, it was a question of, General, are you taking it or am I taking it? As a Hawks, do I take the matter to run with, or are you taking it? Then she said to me, the National Commissioner was Mayor Ria Pierre then said or suggested that this matter must be investigated by a team of experienced investigators. Now,
Sibiya, make me understand, General. I don't understand how do you find yourself in the scene of crime when you are suspended? Are you supposed to be working for the police? Were you supposed to be investigating any case under suspension? Can you just make us clear? Or maybe you have forgotten that you went to the scene of crime, not realizing that you were on suspension. You have got nothing to do what the police had to do in the scene of crime. You were like a civilian by then. You were not considered as a police officer or a IO. I don't understand. Maybe somebody must help me out with this one. Because even in the court of law, it has been brought by Ramsipili, who have done his own research, that by that time, when you went to that scene of crime, you were not working for the police force, but you were suspended on the case of Zimbabwe. So I don't understand. Maybe somebody has to tell me if people who are being suspended, they always wake up in the morning and go to work. And how was the case going to be assigned to him? Because there was a debate whether they were going to take the case. How do somebody who's suspended, who's a civilian, take a case? Can you just try to wake up in your slumber? Don't say things that are wrong under oath, because those things will haunt you at the end of the day. Please, General Sibiya, make sure whatever you say there, you make sure that you are helping yourself out of this problem, that the mess you have created yourself.
That already took us out of the way. Now, we stood by when they made a press conference, a press briefing at that time that says, there will be a team appointed to investigate and will run with this matter. We were standing by, no longer involved in the case. That is why even today, when this matter has been testified, I haven't submitted a statement. I haven't submitted any. Never been called as a witness. It's almost at the end because I was not involved.
What I want to say in my conclusion here, what General Sibiya has just done to himself, it's unrepairable, because this, he has done a big damage. It is he himself who has just told the committee that people were moving up and down. Now the last question from SIKHOSANA, if he believes that that scene was not contaminated and it was not tampered with, and he is saying he came very late at the scene of crime. When he left people while Senzo was still lying, that doesn't show that he came late. Looking at, he left the hospital when everybody was still crying, still at the hospital. He didn't live with Kelly. He didn't live with all those people who were at the hospital. He had to run to the house where the sin of crime was committed. And that is where he ran to. And he found a lot of people moving up and down. Inside the house, outside the house, at the gate. And the sin of crime by then was not cordoned. So who are these experts who came in there and not cordoned the scene of crime, as he is saying that when he came there, everything was already done. The only thing that he did is when he sit down with the people who were inside the scene of crime when the scene was committed. The same people that were in hospital, they were not in the scene of crime when he came there. He better tell us what was his mission going into the scene of crime, leaving everybody at the hospital. Those are the questions that has to be answered by General Sibiya. Help us with that one. What do you think, family? Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
I've seen messages that says I took $1 million and I did this, I shifted the firearm ordered. No. At what point would I have done that? So I just wanted to say to South Africans, I am not involved in the Senzo Meyiwa case. I've never done anything wrong. And there have been many teams, more than 10 different teams that were set to investigate this thing. I have done nothing that can actually cause the matter to be not to be successful.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just give one because there's a warning already there, a red light before my colleagues takes over. The last one from me. Unfortunately, other issues are still under investigation, because you said you are like a specialist, an expert when it comes to investigation. Because I don't want to eat time for my colleague. Can you confirm yes or no on the matter that that scene was not contaminated by your presence?
Not at all. It was never communicated by my presence. When I arrived, it was a done deal already. It was cleared. When you arrive and already it's trampled upon by many people, I was very late when we come there myself.
So were you the first person who arrived at the scene?
Not at all. I came after 12 there when in fact this thing had happened after 7:30. So logically speaking, how can I be the first person to arrive past 12 when this thing happened at 12:30?
Thank you, Chair.
We all agree, General, that you haven't submitted any statement in the Senzo Meyiwa case, but that doesn't mean the defense will not call you, because they still have questions to understand what was your role when you came to the scene of crime and being part of the of whatever police were doing when you were suspended. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. You cannot say to that committee that you have not submitted a statement and you don't know whether the defense will call you to get exactly what was your role in that scene of crime, because you were not supposed to be there as a suspended police and as a disciplined police officer. I don't understand what are you talking about, General. Please make us clear.